Bonjour à tout le monde. Je suis enchantée d'être avec vous pour parler de l'importance de la voix à la radio. Sorry for my bad pronunciation. I'm here to talk about voice, the power of sound, 5 elements to sound credible. But first, let me propose you something. Do you want to come with me on holiday? Sure? No? Voulez-vous venir en vacances avec moi? Oui? No? I can hear you. Yes. Okay, see, oui. Okay. So I've heard that Belgian people usually go to the French coast on vacation. So do you want to go there? Maybe. I choose this small village. Do you want it to go? Do you like? We can go there. It's really close to here. It's in the French coast. And we will take our car, the cheaper option, okay? So making a trip is kind of like the same of choosing a voice for your project, for advertising or for news. It's kind of similar. It's the same process. First, we need the transportation, and the voice is the transportation. We need the car, of course, to go to this beautiful village, and this is like the instrument. This is like the voice as an instrument, the first part. And the second part, we need the itinerary. We need a route to get to there, right? Are you following me? Okay. So this is the intonation. This is the way to speak. So we have finally what and how. So this is the 2 things that I'm going to speak today. So first, we have to choose a voice. And in this case, we have 2 options. Well, in general, we have 2 options. First one. Let's go. This resulting sound is produced because the exhaust pipe of this small car is really narrow and really short. Did you perceive it, the sound, in a little bit high tone or not? It's kind of like this pipe. It's short, so it produces a high tone, okay? So the tone of voice could be low, could be high, okay? The tone of voice is one of the most important features for voice and differentiates gender, female and male. So it's really characteristic, okay? So we have this option, this high tone, and we have this option. So in this case, let me pronounce well. The tuyau d'échappement is longer and is wider than before. So that produces a low tone. Can you perceive the difference? Easy. So it's the same with our voices. The tone of voice depends on the width and the length of your vocal cords. So we have 2 options here to decide what kind of voice we need for our project. High-pitched voices, the voix aiguë, and low-pitched voices, the voix grave. So what do you prefer? This is my question for you. So please take out your phone, and we are going to listen to 2 kinds of voices. Both are in Spanish, which is great for you because I want you to concentrate just on the sound and not on the content. So perfect for you. And they are saying exactly the same. So are you ready? Yes? Let's go.
El jefe del ejército de Haití, el general Raúl Masueco, ha presentado esta mañana su dimisión y ha anunciado que abandonará el país para evitar situaciones de mayor violencia.
El jefe del ejército de Haití, el general Raúl Masueco, ha presentado esta mañana su dimisión y ha anunciado que abandonará el país para evitar situaciones de mayor violencia.
Okay, time to vote. Option 1, option 2.
Can we see this on the screen, please? Here you go. That's about it.
Yeah, it's okay.
What would you choose?
60% for option 2. And this is the same result always, all over the world, for young people, old people, always the same. We conducted a lot of research, a lot of studies about that, and we obtained always the same result. Let me go to my presentation now. And you can see a survey here. This is the preference, low pitch and high pitch for male voices and female voices. You can perceive some kind of difference between male and female voices. I don't have time to talk about the perception of male and female voices, but if you are interested in this aspect, just send me an email and we can talk about that. Okay, so this is the preference, the conscious preference, okay? But in my lab in Barcelona, what we do is to measure the physiological response of our participants. That means that we measure different reactions to the sound messages or voice messages, radio and so on. So what we do there is to measure the rythme cardiaque, the heart rate, to index attention. For your heart rate, I can know if you are paying attention or not to the message. So this is important. In this case, our heart rate is accelerating now, just for this. We measure also the skin conductance response, the electricity under your skin with these sensors, electrodes, just to know if you are engaged or boring, so the level of activation of your body with its electrodes here in the finger, okay? And the emotion, putting the electrodes, attaching the electrodes here, for example, in this muscle here. If I have a negative emotion, it's clear here that I detect the movement, or here if it's a positive emotion. While I'm listening to the ad, or while I'm listening to the news, or whatever you are testing, okay? So we do that, also an eye tracker, sometimes, and we obtain these results for this kind of voices, exactly the same result as before, which is not always the same. Here we have a coincidence between the survey, the perception when I ask you, and the body response. But sometimes I think something consciously, but my body responds in another way. So it's not always a coincidence. In this case, it's really clear. My body says the same. So my first advice is, if you have to choose a narrator, a voiceover artist, for your ad or for news, low-pitched voices are the preference, always, okay? But we also wanted to know what's happening in terms of voice quality. What voice quality is? Another future of voice. So I'm talking now in this tone, and I'm talking now in this tone, but the tone is the same, but the voice is completely different. Yeah? It's just a change in the quality of voice. So we tested, in this case, rough voices and clear voices. And you can see here that it's really easy to see that we prefer clear voices and not this, because it sounds pathologic. Okay? This is an example of rough voice.
El jefe del ejército de Haití, el general Raúl Masueco, ha presentado esta mañana su dimisión y ha anunciado que abandonará el país para evitar situaciones de mayor violencia.
Can you perceive this sound in this voice? People don't like that. So, first recommendation is, and in the skin conductance response is the same, okay? Obtain the same result. First recommendation, low-pitched voices, but clear and resonant. So Yeah, low pitched, but not everything. Clear and resonant voices for narrators. Okay, so once we have the voice, now we have to get to our beautiful village, or not. We have to get to there. So we have to choose an itinerary. We have to choose the roadmap, the route to get to there. So this is the selecting a good way to speak. And we are going to talk about intonation and about speech rate. So the route and the speed to go to there. First, intonation. Intonation is the melody of a speech. It's the sum of tones that I use when I'm talking. And it's really, really, really terribly important. I think that is the most important thing when I'm talking. Because for attention, it's important for, intonation. It's important for paying attention to the message, for paying attention to the message. Second, for understanding the message. And third, for feeling the message. For feeling the message. This is really important. So intonation is really important for all of these things. And you did it before reading these sentences. So it was kind of changes of intonation. We can decide to go to this small village just in this road. Maybe. It's amazing. It's a kind of boring way to go. I'm bored. It's always the same. So it's kind of like a monotonous intonation. So this was our first model to test, the monotonous intonation, a low pitch. Pitch is the same as tone of voice. So low pitch, very monotonous. You can see there, this blue line is the curve of intonation. And it's really low level, it's 87 hertz low. And what we did was to test this model controlling the physiological response of our participants. So above you have heart rate, the rythme cardiaque, and below the activation. Remember, heart rate is indexing attention, and below skin conductance is indexing activation, okay?
He was driven to the brink of madness by his unfaithful fiancée. When an attempt at taking his own life failed, he decided that his cheating sweetheart and her new lover would have to die. Carrying a pistol and disguised as a chambermaid, he set out for the couple's Parisian love nest. Fortunately, he got on the wrong coach, lost the veil that made the disguise somewhat convincing, and decided to compose operas instead. Louis Nelson. Hear his music performed live by the Terry Benjamin Symphony Orchestra. Join us May the 1st.
We can see in real time what is happening in the bodies of our participants while they are listening to messages. So, what do you think? This is not a good result. First, because in terms of heart rate, I'm looking for peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys, that means that I'm regaining the attention throughout the act. But if not, I'm just sleeping, okay? And you can see this decreasing line, okay? And in terms of skin conductance, the level is not too high. So it's not good. It's not a good idea to use this model. I found ads with this model. It's not an invented, I'm not inventing everything, nothing, sorry. So we can choose this other option. Let's see. Whoa, are you fine? Or a little bit dizzy? So this kind of mal de mer. Okay, so this is the second model that we use. You can see the mountains in this model. This is the curve of intonation. It's 164 hertz, meaning that it's a high pitch, it's a high tone, it's a sing-song, is the sing-song, okay, and it's the most common way, way to speak in all the ads all over the world, regardless, I can say again, regardless the language, which is a nonsense because intonation is prosody and is absolutely linked to the language. But I can find this model all over the world, even here.
Et voilà qu'une photo fait le tour du monde depuis lors. C'est Donald Trump qui regarde cette éclipse, sauf qu'il a oublié de se protéger les yeux.
And you can see the result. It's a sing-song, okay, all over the world, in Spanish, in English, in Polish, in French, in Dutch. Okay, let's see what happened with the result.
We assembled a bunch of mountain bikes, stocked our shelves with a bunch of mountain bike parts, hung up all kinds of cool mountain bike posters, and opened our big new store full of mountain bikes in Miami called Bikes Canada. Get a good mountain bike for a little money, then ride around town if you can handle people pointing and giggling. We have helmets, goggles, and gloves. Bikes Canada. We don't know much, but we do know bikes.
And of course, we have a better result than before, but still it's not good. It's not good, especially because the skin conductance is a little bit higher than before, but not too much. And the heart rate is always decreasing, almost a straight line. It's not a good way to speak. But all over the world, most of the ads are doing that. So be careful. So what we did is to elaborate another model. And in this model, we have changes, we have variations. And in this case, you can see that the first part of the sentence is in a high pitch, 151, and the second part of the sentence is in a low pitch.
Once every spring in the village of Florenta, Italy, Antonio cooks his famous family feast.
Can you perceive it, the difference? So the idea is, I have to start attracting your attention in a high pitch, and then deliver the more important information at the end of the sentence in a low pitch. Okay, variation. And we can see the result.
Once every spring in the village of Florenta, Italy, Antonio cooks his famous family feast. He prepares the finest ingredients for hours until it's perfect. And when the family gathers and Antonio brings his masterpiece to the table, everyone agrees it's the worst thing they ever tasted. Thank goodness, there's Topolino pizza. 2 pizzas, 2 sides of spaghetti, 2 soft drinks, just $9.99. Topolino pizza.
Can you see the peak of 2 pizzas at the end? So we are regaining the attention through the ads. And this is the most important thing. And in terms of skin conductance, you can see that the level is the highest one, almost 6. So people here are paying attention and it's really engaged with the message. So this is important in terms of attention and also recall. But let me show you first, this is the result of the 3 models. You can see that the red line is the variation, high-low pitch, and obtain the best result. You can see the peaks and the valleys in the red line, and it's the lowest one. Because when I'm paying attention to a message, my heart rate decreases. Yeah? Because I'm paying attention. So we are looking for the lowest level in heart rate, so perfect, then high and then low. And in terms of skin conductance, this is really clear that the highest one is with variation. What is the most important thing is recall. After that, we tested what people remember, because if people remember anything about after our messages, it's like we are doing nothing. So you can see here the result. Variations, high pitch and low pitch. People remember better when you are trying to produce this kind of variation through the ad. Okay, second part of, so low pitched voices, clear resonant, and fair advice, monotony, the worst. People are sleeping. This is the worst thing, the worst option that you can choose. And variation is the best. But variation in a natural way. Not singing a song. It's variation in a natural way, like I'm doing now. In advertising, please, don't sell, just tell. Important. So, last part, speed. Let's go to our village now. Do you want to go in this car? Maybe. Okay, so in this case, we tested 3 different speech rates. 160 words per minute, 180 words per minute, and 200. So this is my second question for you. What do you prefer? So we are going to listen to 3 fragments of different ads, and you have to choose an option. Ready? Go.
Call Luca at 349-569-8232. Thousands of Star Wars collectibles available at competitive prices. Millennium. Paid for by Friends of the Sunshine Conservation District.
Okay, let's go. Okay, it's clear, I think.
What's that?
That is clear.
Yeah.
Second option.
That's what I would have chosen.
180. I'm wondering why I do this experiment all over the world, and with participants, without, in conferences, and the result is always the same. But when I tune on the radio, this is not the result. So, okay. This is the result for skin conductance, 180, of course, like you. Then 200, and then 160. And in terms of recall, what people remember, the same, 180, 200, and 160. Let me explain how speech rate acts. Well, the optimal recognition of information, the optimal recall, is between 190 and 160. First. 170, 190. Here, in this place, we have the moderate dynamic effect. What does it mean? So you have to be sufficiently dynamic to attract attention, but moderate enough to facilitate understanding. So this is the rhythm that you have to choose. Below this level, we have problems. We have problems with attention because it's too slow, and I'm boring, and I'm sleeping. So the level of recognition, the level of recall is low. But more than 190, we have a problem because I cannot follow you. So we produce a cognitive overload. I cannot follow you. So the level of recognition is also really low. So here you can see most of the ads, majority of ads are in this place with this level of recognition. It's really, really, really low, the level of recall. Why? Because we elaborate in general, in Spain, in France, in all over the world, ads with a really complex message, with a lot of information delivered at a fast rate. And that, the result is that. It's just this point. So we have to slow down a little bit the ads to get a best result, or the best result. So, low-pitched voices, clear, resonant, monotony is the word, 180 words per minute, and variation. Variation is really important. In terms of intonation, we have to vary the curve of intonation, but also in terms of speech rate. Nobody speaks at the same rate. That's why I know that Alexa is not human. Okay? So be careful with that. I hope you enjoy your stay in this small village. Profitez bien de vos vacances dans ce petit village. Juste un dernier pensée.
Yes. Voice matters.
Voice matters.
Yes.
Voice matters.
Voice matters. Yes.
Voice matters.
Ja, de stem en de radio zijn heel belangrijk.
Sí, la voz importa.
Stimme ist wichtig.
Oui, la voix compte.
Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Merci.
Ladies and gentlemen, Emma Rodero.
Merci. Au revoir.